Nothing like a good audit. I mean,
Not too much good audit.
it is a good one.
I'd like to call to order the regular Storm Lake City Council meeting of April 7th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Council, do we have any considerations to any changes to the agenda?
Pulling number 6.
Thank you. Yes. Item number 6, we will be removing from the agenda.
Eavesdropping, but I.
Thank you. Any others? Hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item number 6.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Martinez,
Second.
second by Councilperson Rickliffs. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is set. Do we have any disclosures to any items on the agenda by any members of the City Council? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. We do, just for the record, we do have a quorum with the 3 City Council members that are here. I do not believe we have any council members online. So we just have, we have a quorum here this evening. Here's the public. Do we have anybody here who'd like to address the council on a non-agenda item? Would you like to say a few other things, Mr. Wimmer? This is a new recording now, so you have to say your name again and address, please.
Okay. Rick Weimer, 808 Clover Lane, Storm Lake, Iowa. I have a question that I learned at the last meeting, that you have reduced the staffing on the, what I'll call the inspectors, who kind of police the city. And that's kind of, I spent 50 years in property management all over the United States, and curb appeal has probably been the one thing on my properties that sometimes made us or broke us. And unfortunately, I can't go anywhere without seeing Storm Lake through those property manager eyes. I love Storm Lake. So as to the position that you cut, would you entertain a part-time person for free to fill it? Because I've had lots of experience.
Well, I think we look for volunteers in whatever possibility we can get,
Well,
any way we can find volunteers.
Yeah, okay. Good. Who would I talk to?
I think everybody
Honorable Mayor and
that
Council.
wants to know is here.
Right.
probably.
Honorable Mayor and Council, Kim Waltman is here. She's the one who coordinates all of our volunteer efforts through the community,
Okay.
through the city.
So we'll make sure you two get connected then.
Okay, the only one other thing I have is relative to Kings Point. I've eaten there on several occasions, not only with my wife, but also with a couple of community groups. As I've seen other community groups eat there on the weekends or something like that. I've noticed of late, first of all, we left, and another community group left as well. Our service had just gone down, and I'm not sure why. The other group for sure left, but we all ended up over at Lakeshore. And, but the view out the front windows of the regatta is beautiful. The lake, any time of the day. But if you turn around and you look at the other side of the regatta, inside, it sometimes reminds me of a broom closet, and not necessarily a clean one. There are yellow caution things, there are brooms, there are mops leaned up against the walls. Occasionally I'll walk down the steps and there's a bowl of water with a rag in it, and it always makes me wonder if that's being used to wipe the tables down. And if it is, it's just using the same old dirty water over and over again. I've also observed, and this was always important in my property management business, whenever we had a down unit, it was like having empty air. You're not drawing any revenue off of it at all. And on my bike rides over the last year or so, I've noticed at least 2 on the ground floor on one end that were down. I think one of them may be back, but I don't think the other one is. And I've been told, and I have no understanding of it, or not direct knowledge of it, that there are some others throughout the hotel. And in my business, that all affected my bottom line. I knew I would have I took over an apartment complex, I knew I'd have an expense of restoring those units, but in doing so I would be able to generate revenue. I know, as I've read and I've heard, that there are periods during the year that Kings Point is sold out, which means there are no rooms available. However, if there's 10 of those rooms at an average, you know, depending on the rate, vacant, it could be costing $2,000 or $3,000 a night. Money, in my estimation, that could ultimately go towards remodeling the lobby that they want to do for, I think it was 1.6 million. Otherwise, just generate the revenue and to help pay for the bottom line and the cost. And the other thing, and this is relative to sales. I was going to bring my grandkids up from Texas at one time during the summer, and I was going to get them a membership while they were there, and we were all going to get a suite or a cabin. And so I went to the front desk, and the desk clerk gave me a key to one of the suites, so I could look at it. I brought the key back down, and I thanked her for it. And what I was expecting didn't happen. She didn't take my name, or she didn't give me any contact information to someone who might be able to close me and reserve that room before I left. And that's part of the sales process we go through in the apartment business. It's always be closing every chance you get, and it all affects the bottom line. If you're really tight because of those sales during sellout times, you can raise the rates, which all goes back to the bottom line. So those are my concerns.
I know part of it in the room, I don't know if Amy, you want to address them, but I know part of it in the rooms is that we had pipes break, and the rooms carpet was ruined, and we had repair on a lot of rooms. Would you like to respond, Amy? I'll give you 3 minutes.
No, I'm thinking too much.
I Hi, I'm Amy, I'm the general manager
I'm
at East
Rick.
Point. Nice to meet you. So I apologize for your issue at the restaurant. Definitely feel free to talk to myself or Dustin, the restaurant manager, concerning your concerns. We definitely are working very hard to do the best job that we can do. As far as our rooms, yes, we had a significant pipe break that took out 12 rooms. All of that is covered under insurance, and the remodeling has been done in that process. We also took that opportunity during our winter months to start some of the renovations on some of the other rooms that weren't rented, but we are 100% back up and running.
In action. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yep, absolutely. So, and anytime if you have any concerns, please feel
None.
free to reach out to me. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item of business is the consent agenda. Do you have any questions or comments on the consent agenda, council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Rickliff,
Second.
second by Councilperson Martinez. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That will carry. I do have one thing before we get to the next item. I forgot to, we do have a proclamation that I should have read and didn't read, so we'll do it right now. Storm Lake Proud Week 2025 proclamation, April 7th, 2025. Whereas the community of Storm Lake offers extraordinary natural resources and recreation facilities that are available for all to enjoy and appreciate, and whereas the community shares a common vision to protect and beautify all of Storm Lake's public spaces, including parks, beaches, rain gardens, and recreation areas, which are vital both to the quality of life and tourism appeal. And whereas we believe that great things are possible when we work together as a community and when we celebrate the volunteerism that helps our community to be its best. And whereas for the past several years, Storm Lake Proud Week, held each spring, has proven to be an excellent opportunity for people from all walks of life to step forward and become involved. And whereas Storm Lake Proud Week is an annual reminder that everyone has a role to play in keeping the community and its environment clean, healthy, and beautiful. Not just during 1 week, but as a way of life all year round. And whereas residents and groups are encouraged to take up on one of several cleanup and beautification projects that are currently needed around the community. Now therefore, I, Michael Porsche, Mayor, do proclaim May 4th through the 10th as Storm Lake Proud Week in the city of Storm Lake, signed and sealed the 7th day of April 2025. So yes, Storm Lake Proud Week is coming up, May 4th through the 10th. We ask all the community members, business groups, civic organizations to contact the city to find projects. We have a list of projects that we can match you up with to get different projects done within the community. We do have a work session in this council meeting a little later on. We'll be discussing that a little bit further, but please, anybody that's listening outside, please take the opportunity to step up, get your neighborhoods together to come help clean up a park. We had one of our discussions with the property tax thing Thursday night, and one of the things that was brought to our attention is that 51% of the property in Storm Lake is all that is taxable. 49% of it is not taxable, which is a large amount that is not taxable in Storm Lake. But part of that is the 100 acres or more of park space that we have in the community that not only is not on property tax rolls, but also takes a lot of maintenance to maintain. And we're proud of those parks, and it's one of the attractions that we have as a community. So it is a community, those are community parks, and we need everybody in the community to help to come out to help take care of those parks for us. So that's the pitch for the day. So we'll probably get another one a little later in the day. So with that, we will move on to new business. And the first item is the Iowa Lakes Corridor Quarterly Update.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Really appreciate the opportunity to allow us to come in here and give a quick update on everything we got going at the Iowa Lakes Corridor. Alyssa in our office, our administrative and communications coordinator.
Trevor, why don't you introduce yourself too?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Trevor Smith, Senior Vice President of Economic Development at the Iowa Lakes Corridor. Kurt Strouth, our president CEO, couldn't be here today, but on behalf of him, he wanted me to pass along the message that we do really miss Mayor Porsche on our board of directors and miss having him around at our meetings. But luckily enough, we got Councilman Rickless taking his place, and it's been a pleasure getting to know him over the last few months. And just as a reminder, our Buena Vista County representatives for our board of directors is Councilman Rick Lifts, Walter DeBach with Tyson Foods, Nate Whitmack with Ranco, who is also our current board chair, as well as Catherine Cota, who just joined from Buena Vista University and is the director of rural entrepreneurship there. Last week we had a pretty big week at the Iowa Lakes Corridor. We had our final pitch competition for the Big Idea, which is an entrepreneurial pitch competition that we hosted over our 4 counties. Hosted 5 entrepreneurs from the region up in Arnold's Park last week, and we're able to give out $10,000 in cash prizes for seed money to help grow and kickstart some of these entrepreneurial endeavors. And actually, we had 2 Storm Lake companies take first and second place, with Cody Fuller with Fuller Radiance taking the first place, cash prize of $5,000. Caden Fisher with Outlaw Kicks taking the second place of $3,000. And I will email you guys an update after this. They even made it into KTIV News for a little article highlighting that, so you can see some of the pictures and different things that we had there. So. And then also last week, we finished up our in-person interviews for the Homegrown Talent Initiative, which is a workforce recruitment initiative that we started last year. And I've come in and updated you guys a few times about that, but we're now finally in the process of awarding our first 2 recipients. And we had 6 individuals make it to the in-person round out of about 20 applicants all over the region, including a few here in Storm Lake. And so those finished up last week, and we should have that announcement here in the next couple weeks. Also last week, IEDA sent out an RFI where we worked with the city and Development Director Dutfield, as well as City Manager Navratil, on identifying a site and building that would work well with that project. And we're able to get that submitted, and we always appreciate the partnership and collaboration with everybody on the city staff for that, and we feel confident in the opportunities it could bring more economic development to Storm Lake. So, and then on top of that, I wanted Alyssa to touch on a few other things we have going on.
Thank you, Trevor. Yes, so like Trevor was saying, we've got a lot of things going on right now. One of those is we're currently working with the Iowa Economic Development Authority on a labor shed study for the region as well. So data from this study will help us better understand commuting patterns and the labor force availability for our region. They also do it for each of our county seats, so Storm Lake specifically will also get a report as well as our regional report. We're also partnering with UNI, the Institute for Decision Making, on a wage and benefits study for the region that will launch on April 23rd. That survey will collect data from over 15 industry sectors across our region, and we will be able to get an aggregated results and report for that by July. And so that information is going to be extremely helpful for our businesses as well as they work on workforce recruitment efforts, workforce development, and retention as well, just trying to keep their workforce there. Because it will give information about both wages and any benefits that those employees are getting. And once again, both Development Director Lee Dutfield and City Manager Carrie Navratil have been very helpful in partnering with both of those in reaching out to businesses, making sure we have the right contact information for them as both of those studies are going on. And so we're really, really thankful for your help, both of you, for all of the partnerships we do. And then kind of to wrap up, we also, for those of you who couldn't attend our annual business recognition luncheon back in January, we wanted to provide you with our 2024 annual report. So that is what I passed out there at the beginning. It gives a really good summary of just a few of the things that we did last year. We added 4 pages this year and still couldn't fit everything in there. So it's always a good problem to have too much information. So if there's ever any questions on anything there, we try to share some of the stories of different projects and things going on. So happy to answer any of those. I'll turn it back over to Trevor.
Yeah, thank you, Alyssa, and if you guys have any questions, more than happy to answer any.
I just have one, and I already know the answer to it, but just the reports that you have, the labor shed studies and the wage, and those are all available to any business within the corridor region, correct?
Yes, so the labor shed data is for our wage and benefit survey, so the people who opt into it, they are able to get a report back to it and are able to be a part of it, but it's not for open and everybody just to, but everybody will be contacted and have the opportunity to participate in it. And it's important that they do so because having those wage and benefits, we did it back in 2021 after COVID when the market kind of reset, and it was very helpful to a lot of manufacturers. And now we're opening it up to multiple sectors to get updated, accurate information so they can be competitive in the marketplace as well.
There will be some aggregate data from the wage and benefit survey that we'll be able to share, but it'll be very high level, whereas the businesses that do participate will be able to get a little bit more information and possibly even dive down a little bit more into their sector specifically too.
Yeah.
I just think it's important to know that that information is available to the communities that are part of the corridor, because if we try to do some of those studies ourselves, it would be an expensive undertaking.
Yeah, and it is a cost, and you know, your guys' support and investment goes towards helping us offset that and be able to conduct it at a high level.
Very good.
Anybody else have any questions for them?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, the next item is a motion to approve the acknowledgment of the fiscal year 2024 independent audit of the city of Storm Lake. Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. Chapter 11 of the Code of Iowa details when auditors' examinations are required. Cities with population over 2,000 must have an independent audit every year as required by law. Audits must be given to the state auditor's office for publication and accessibility to the public. Auditors are required to report on internal control and satisfactory compliance findings. When weaknesses in internal controls or non-compliance with statutes, they must be noted. The auditor includes such findings and recommendation on how the entity should take corrective action against those. The entity is given the opportunity to respond to the findings and recommendations, which are also included in the report when they are present. No matters of internal control deficiencies or weaknesses were found. No matters of instances of non-compliance with statutes were found. There were no recommendations or findings needing responses for this year's audit. This item also includes an engagement with Winder and Stave Company to perform a report for the ARPA funds. Since ARPA expenditures cause the city to spend more than $1 million of federal expenditures, the city is required to file a separate report for the ARPA funds. The fiscal impact for the engagement of the ARPA funds is not to exceed $5,500. We do have Arvin and Rod with our independent auditing firms, Winder and Stave, to provide a little more insight and answer any questions you may have.
My name is Arvin Drubinga, and Rod Mendering is also here with us tonight. We're both partners. I have the overall responsibility for the audit, and Rod was the primary in charge for the field work that took place. We have gone through the report and provided that to management previously, so they've had a chance to look at it. And in the bound report that you were provided tonight, I'll just touch on a couple things very briefly, and then if there are questions, we can follow up with that. But on page 2 is where our independent auditor report is found, page 2 through 4. And the opinion that we provide is in the first section, and the second paragraph does state that, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the cash basis financial position of governmental activities, business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city of Storm Lake for as of June 30th, 2024, and for the year that ended in that in that time frame, the fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. So this is all on the cash basis of accounting, so it just deals with the change in cash for the period of time. The letter that we provide, the opinion does go on to state that our responsibility is to provide the audit opinion, and then a letter, as Tyler alluded to, on internal control and compliance. The financial statements are the responsibility of management of the city, and we do assist then in putting it together in this bound document. And the financial statements themselves are shown in two different formats. There, page 11 and 12 is what's called the government-wide financial statements. And then at the bottom, there's a reconciliation of governmental activities, business-type activities, and then a grand total for the city. And then the beginning cash balances were approximately $25.8 million. There was a usage of cash during the year of $5.8 million. And then at the end of the year, the balances were just slightly over $20 million for the city as a whole. We do break that down on pages 13 and 14 for the governmental activities. Much of that net cash basis position is required to be used for particular items. The business type activities are used in their specific areas, and then all but approximately $3.7 million of the governmental funds are restricted for particular uses. That same information is then brought forth into the governmental funds, and then the enterprise fund financial statements. So page 15 and 16 are the governmental funds. This lays out the individual major funds, and then the non-major funds are grouped together in one separate column. Here again, about 2/3 of the way, there's the net change in cash balances for the year. The beginning balances are shown, and then the cash balances at the end of the year with a reconciliation of what's unrestricted shown and what funds are restricted for particular purposes at the bottom of that schedule. So the ending result for all of those funds was approximately $8.7 million in governmental funds at June 30th, 2024. And then moving ahead at the enterprise fund level, it's on page 18 and 19. A similar format for each of those funds with a change in cash balance, beginning cash balances and ending cash balances shown. The total of all the enterprise funds at June 30th, 2024 was slightly over $11.1 million with approximately $178,000 in internal service funds. Following that are a variety of required and informational footnotes to the financial statements. Because the report is on the cash basis, I do want to draw your attention to page 26 and some pages thereafter where the bonds and notes payable outstanding are reflected. A summary for the year is provided. Beginning balances, there were decreases of approximately $2.7 million, and then the ending cash balances, both governmental and business type activities. And then amortization schedules are provided to give you an idea of each of the individual bonds, and then the totals by general obligation bonds and by the enterprise bonds. So that is quite a bit of additional information provided to you. And then one other note I want to draw to your attention on page 40 is a subsequent events note. So after June 30th, there were additional bonds that were taken out, approximately $10 million for revenue notes and approximately $2.8 million in general obligation bonds. And that correlated with approximately $6.4 million that was approved for construction contracts subsequent to this time period that we provided the audit, but before the date that the audit was issued. And then the second auditor's report is on page 55 and 56. This is the one that deals with internal control and compliance. As was stated before, then there were not any matters that were brought to the attention in a formal nature that were required to be included in this report based on the audit and accounting standards. We do typically throughout the audit have items that we discuss with management and perhaps have some suggestions or ways that we see might be improved, but nothing that is required to be reported. So that's a brief overview. We'll be glad to take any questions as well if you have any of those, and we always appreciate being able to provide these services and appreciate the cooperation of the city staff as we go through our procedures each year.
Have any questions, council?
Where are you gentlemen from?
We're from Spencer with
Okay.
Winther Stave and Company in Spencer. Also have an office up in Milford
So,
as well.
other than the city paying for the process, you have nothing to do, because I've just heard comments from people here and there that, well, yeah, we got people, you know, that are gonna make it all look good no matter what. Well, you guys are completely independent, so you have nothing to do with the city whatsoever, other than us paying the check for the audit itself.
Right,
so.
and independence is a requirement
Yeah.
as far as doing an audit. Even the city audit that we do in the city of Spencer, we have a separation, even though we are more involved in perhaps some areas of the community there. But as far as dealing with any aspect of the city, we do maintain a separation from any of our audit clients.
Okay.
As is required and is intended to provide that arm's length view of the city's finances.
Thank you. I knew that, but I wanted to make sure it was on the record that
Yep,
other
absolutely.
people knew about it too that might be listening.
And you do a large amount of municipal audits.
Yes, we have more than a dozen, probably less than 2 dozen, various not-for-profits and city governments, county governments, and some related 28E organizations.
Any other questions? Hearing none, then thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have any questions for Mr. Gibbons before we let him sit down?
We should come.
Hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the acknowledgement of the fiscal year 2024 independent audit of the city of Storm Lake.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson McKinney,
Second.
second by Councilperson Rick Cliffs. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That will carry. Next item is a motion to approve the request from Joyce's Greenery LLC. Mr. Olson.
Hey, Mayor and Council, we had a request from Joyce's Greenery in regards to the current water conservation management plan. This is, you have a copy of it, they're just asking for during the water ban to start 10 p.m. to efficiently do their watering, and that's during their initial plants. Then after that, they should be done before 10 p.m. in the morning, so this is just a period, just getting the plants put in the ground and not knowing that's going to happen. That was their request.
Can I clarify something? You said 10 p.m. both times.
Yeah,
Do you
one,
mean 10 a.m.?
they would need to start at 10 a.m.
Okay.
during the initial planning, but once the plants are established, then it'd be completed before 10 a.m., so
And maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you said p.m. both times.
probably did.
That's why I just wanted to make sure.
Council, you have any questions at all?
It makes sense.
Okay then, hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the request from Joyce's Greenery LLC.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Martinez,
Second.
second by Councilperson Rick Cliffs. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. That will carry. Okay, next item then is resolution number 61-R-2024-2025, amending the water conservation plan for the city of Storm Lake. Mr. Olson.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this makes some amendments to the water conservation plan we have in place now. Basically takes out flower beds and vegetable gardens. things are watered by hand, so in other words, using a hose with a nozzle where you have to be physically present to do it, as opposed to a sprinkler system, irrigation system, where it kind of comes on by itself. This would be limited to flower gardens and vegetable gardens. So basically, it kind of pulls those two items out and allows those to be watered during the day, and that would help, not only Joyce's, but other folks that have gardens or whatnot. But it is limited to hand watering, so either using a hose with a nozzle or a watering can, something to those effect. And so this would be permitted until we get up to a level 4 water conservation, where pretty much nothing's allowed to be watered. That's just down to potable water uses only. So that would be the major amendment. There's kind of taking those items out and then allowing for that. And we did have something there about dust control for construction purposes, just to kind of clarify that. That's so what we don't want to use is water for dust control on the larger sites with potable water, but it doesn't preclude them from using water for concrete and those types of things, the normal construction things, but it just precludes them from using a watering tank and doing major uses of water for that. So that would also include private property. Do have a little bit of that where they might have gravel parking lots, they might have water up down. This would just allow them not to do that during the stage 3 and beyond.
So this is less restrictive even than what Joyce's was asking for.
No, it just kind of clarifies kind of the conditions for that. So Joyce's will be, that'll be mainly deal with just when they're doing their initial planning, but what they're doing after that will fit right in with this, so.
Okay, so you can water anytime during the day then, as long as you.
For
in your
flower beds
pan-
and vegetables.
Flower beds and stuff, as long as you have a.
Correct.
nozzle.
And that's up to a certain point. At some point, then we don't do any watering, so.
Okay. Any questions, council? Hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution number 61-R-2024-2025, amending the water conservation plan for the city of Storm Lake.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Martinez,
Second.
second by Councilperson McKinney. This will be a roll call vote, so Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliffs.
Aye.
Councilperson McKinney.
Aye.
That will carry. Okay, next item is a motion to approve the agreement with Colony Inc. Ms. Von Bank.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. So in our last budget sessions, we discussed the challenges that all the departments are facing, including the cutbacks to outside agency funding and additional projects. At that time, we discussed whether or not it would be possible to continue the kayak and bike rentals. Obviously, we all share the same agreement that we'd love to, if we can, be able to still allow people to use those out on the water. I reached out to Kalani after that meeting and asked them to really dig deep and see what they could do to assist us with better pricing for the season, in hopes of being able to maintain that access to the water recreation. They were extremely generous and were able to get the, at the time, kayak rentals down to $15,000, and then said that they would include the bike rentals for that price as well, because they hated to see that go away. This price includes them having all of the insurance, all of the liability, and all of the maintenance. We were able to come up with a more comprehensive advertising and marketing plan, including better signage, better collateral, and then we do have 2 canned television commercials that KCAU and KTIV both said they could put into our rotations, and maybe kind of with the water park flip that around a little bit to focus on that as well. And also revamping a little bit of the structure down there to give people a little bit more information as to what's in the kayak rental. So we understand the tough financial decisions that we all have ahead of us, and appreciate any consideration of the contract with the $16,900 decrease. So I've been really impressed with their willingness to take a look at things, and I'm open to any questions anybody might have.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, how do people go about renting these, or do they
So
Go
it's,
through the water park or?
it's done through an app.
Okay.
Everything is done right through an app on their phones,
Okay.
and, yeah, so.
And,
it's just-
and any of those funds go to Kalani?
They come back to us.
Oh, they
all
do
of the
come back to
rentals.
us? Okay.
Yep, all of the rentals do. So then one of the things we had discussed is maybe increasing that fee a little bit to make them a little bit more self-supporting, so, and not just an awesome amenity for sure. And hopefully we'll have a better kayak season than we did last year. It was a little rough a couple times. A little more surfing than it was kayaking for sure.
Any other questions?
Thank you for doing that.
Appreciate it.
Yes, I do appreciate it. Appreciate them for
Yeah.
stepping up and
Yeah,
cutting the
that was,
costs
yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement with Kalani Inc.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Rickliff,
Second.
second by Councilperson Martinez. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That will carry. Okay, item number 6 we are passing. Item number 7. It's ordinance number 50-5-0-2024, 2025 text amendment to the post-construction stormwater control ordinance. This is the second reading.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I know Mr. Derrick and I did this last meeting, but this is, again, just an update to our The state amended, made changes in what we can do as far as requirements for post-construction controls. Those are the controls we put in on larger projects to control the water runoff, so we don't overtax our storm sewer system. So there's controls we have in place and protections. State of Iowa kind of limited us on how we can do that, so now we had to update our ordinance to make sure we're in compliance with that. And we also had some DNR things we put in there as far as preservation of topsoil. And while we're in the middle of doing all that, we've had, different questions or concerns or complaints from different developers, different engineers about how the ordinance is written. So I went through and amended it and cleaned it up so it's more legible, more readable, and took things out that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but still kept us in conformance with EPA and DNR rules. So just trying to kind of do a whole cleanup while we're in there. So that's kind of what we did to try and make us easier for folks to comply.
Any questions for Mr. Olson? Okay, hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 5-0-2024, 2025, the text amendment to the post-construction stormwater control ordinance, and this is the second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Rickliff,
Second.
second by Councilperson Martinez. This will also be a roll call vote, so Councilperson Rickliff,
Aye.
Councilperson McKinney,
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
That will carry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next item then is a motion setting a public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This agenda item will set a public hearing for fiscal year 25-26 budget for Monday, April 21st, 2025 at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers. The State of Iowa Code requires that cities hold a public hearing on any budget or budget amendments prior to its adoption. Notice of the public hearing will be published in the newspaper as required by law. Upon conclusion of the public hearing and approval, the budget will be submitted for adoption by the April 30th deadline. There is no fiscal impact other than the cost of the publication, and the recommendation is to set the public hearing for Monday, April 21st at 5 p.m.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Gibbons? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to set the public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for Monday, April 21st at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Martinez,
Second.
second by Councilperson McKinney. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That will carry. Next item is a motion to approve the Lighthouse Summer Concessions space. Ms. Navratil.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. For the last several years, we have solicited proposals to who may be interested or qualified to manage the snack shack over at Oasis Park, should Kings Point opt not to utilize this space. We did send out those proposals January 2025, with the proposals due back to the city clerk by February 27th of 2025 at noon. One proposal was sent to the city manager on March 3rd of 2025 at 4:28 p.m. During that time also, Kings Point had indicated that they would like to operate the snack shack for events as well. So council, we can either approve typically what has happened is Kings Point gets first right of refusal if they want to use a snack shack. So it would not be open every day. It would be used for special events. We've talked about, with General Manager Von Bank, of other opportunities that could be used at the snack shack as well.
Any questions or?
Are we gonna talk
Comments?
about what those secondary things are?
Okay. Absolutely.
So yes, we thought that there might be some opportunities to maybe have a hot dog with King Splash kind of day, maybe some birthday parties at the beach, and some different opportunities to find some ways, some kid-friendly and family-friendly events that we would do down there and for special occasions and so on, to kind of enhance everything and also, add to kind of the busyness of the park down there.
Do we have any other questions? So we really don't have to do anything on this if Kings Point is gonna activate their contract, correct?
Correct. Honorable Mayor and Council, I would just notify the individual that was sent the proposal in that Kings Point is exercising their first right of refusal to operate out of the snack shack.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, we saw some opportunities for some pizza things, but that's still coming, so working on it.
It would be nice if we could get it open on a regular basis, but I know that's kind of tough. But if people knew that on Saturdays or Sundays it was going to be open during the summer months, it'd be nice. But I know that's kind of tough to get done. So.
Yeah, we'll work on some options for sure.
So do we need to do, is everybody on board with letting Kings Point do their, fulfill their contract if they want to use it? If not, then there's really nothing we have to do with this agenda item, correct?
Correct, Honorable Mayor and Council, unless if Council wanted to go a different direction.
On board with just,
I'd like to see nonprofits use it, but
Yep.
I think that would be a way to generate some new blood in there.
is that still an opportunity?
Yes. Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council will work with Kings Point on the nonprofit opportunities that could arise as well.
It'd be Kings Point having the
The
control
reins,
over
right.
that.
Right.
Over that.
They'd have to
And then-
schedule it through
Yeah,
Kings
then
Point.
whoever does the nonprofit
Yeah.
could work through them or
Yeah.
schedule it through them.
For sure, that'd be great.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we won't just not even, we'll move on. Next item then is resolution number 62-R-2024-2025, approving the construction contract and bond for the Stormlight College and Third Lift Station project. Mr. Darragon.
Honorable Mayor and Council, Mr. Olson let me keep this one from the last meeting. At our last meeting, we awarded the contract for the College and Third Street Lift Station project to King Construction. This item will just simply approve signing the contract, as they have submitted their signatures on the contract and the appropriate bond for the project. And I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Darragon? Just sounds like this is just housekeeping.
This is housekeeping, exactly.
Hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution number 62-R-2024-2025, approving the construction contract and bond for the Storm Lake College and Third Lift Station project.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Rickliff.
Second.
I believe it's a tie.
Great.
Second by Councilperson
All
Martinez.
yours.
This will be a roll call vote, so Councilperson McKinney.
Aye.
Councilperson Martinez.
Aye.
Councilperson Rickliff.
Aye.
That will carry.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is a motion to approve letter of support. Ms. Navratil.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. I was contacted by the Lake Preservation Association. They are going to be putting in a application to the Buena Vista Community Foundation grant for lake bank rearmoring, sorry. And the LPA is requesting the City Council provide a letter of support to accompany the grant application. And by approving the letter of application, it would be also approving the mayor to sign on City Council's behalf.
Willing to do it. Any questions or comments? I believe that's the least we can do is help with the letter of support for
Absolutely.
for them to try to get some funding for that project, because it's a project that benefits all of us.
Mhm.
Okay, then, if there's no further comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to approve that letter of support.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson McKinney,
Second.
second by Councilperson Rickliff. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That will carry. And the next item then is a work session for the Storm Lake Proud Week, which we heard about a little bit earlier. Ms. Waltman.
Honorable Mayor and Council, thanks for having me. Like we stated earlier, Storm Lake Proud Week is May 4th through the 10th. In the past, this has been a phenomenal turnout where they could citizens could clean up their yards. We had volunteers come throughout the community and do projects. As far as, we rolled it together with what we used to call citywide cleanup, where they could bring their gently loved items and drop them off for disposal. In the past, they brought them down to the street department, and this year we're gonna do things a little different. Due to insurance reasons, city staff can no longer handle or touch these items, and the citizens are gonna have to do it themselves. So therefore, we are going to partner with Buena Vista Recycling Center, where we will set up dumpsters there and have where they can take their appliances and things. But the city staff will be also out there to help direct traffic so they get it to the right, the citizen gets it to the right spot, and to take tickets. The citizens will have to unload their vehicles themselves. We cannot touch the items, gently loved items. I'd like to propose that we sell tickets at City Hall and sell 50 tickets a day. We normally take in about 250 people in a 2-day period. What we're going to do this year is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, each day we'll be at the recycling center 8 to 4. And people can buy a ticket at City Hall, which I'm proposing the price to be $15 a ticket, which is $15 a load. And the tickets will have a different color and the date on them, so we know if they're there on the right day. If they have more than one load, one more than a truck or a car load, they're gonna have to purchase additional tickets. This price of $15 is a lot cheaper than what they would pay if they took it out there without this program. Normally, just to take a TV out to the recycling center, a small TV, is $20. Anything like with a cabinet or bigger is $30. Appliances are $12 each. Tires run roughly about $6 per tire. And our dumpster fees, they charge us $65 per ton. We will have to provide dumpsters out there, which we will, and Mr. Fitzpatrick is again going to provide the dumpsters for us like he did last year. Also, I'm going to encourage a lot of people, citizens, communities, anybody who wants to volunteer. We have a lot of projects we'd like to get done that week. Some of them are, we need to paint inside of the campground bathrooms. We need the lighthouse statues need to be cleaned. The trail light bases in Chautauqua Park to Sunset Park need to be painted. We need to rake and level mulch in the playgrounds. We need to rake and level mulch around the trees at the golf course. The basketball hoops and poles at Emerald Park need to be painted. We have shoreline sections that could be picked up. Bandshell benches need to be painted. There's pick up trash in the stormwater features. And plant the park planters, which there are several, and of course the planters downtown, the tall ones, need to be planted. However, I do have a fun group of kids who want to do that. We have had volunteers in the past who have helped like stain the wood carvings. That's ISG takes care of that for us. Farm Credit Services of America, they clean the ditch between on C49 all the way down to the Field of Dreams and all the way to 71, which they do a fantastic job. This year, Imagine the Possibilities has stepped up and is asking to do some projects, which we're going to assign to them. The Stormike Elementary class, the first grade class, they're going to be doing planters downtown, and a few other planters.
With hopefully some high school supervision.
With some high school kids, which is the IJAG kids.
We're hopefully going to get that.
Citizens Community Credit Union has volunteered to do a project every day that week. And Wireless World has helped in the past and are going to help us again this year. So I'm pretty excited about that. We do need some more volunteers. I would like to challenge every citizen in this community to help their neighbor during this time. I also have to add that the Hometown Pride Committee has been phenomenal in reaching out to people to get volunteers to help. They also would like to see a neighborhood challenge go on. So help your neighbors. I mean, go out and, do they need something painted? Do they need their lawn raked? Do they need help planting flowers? There's all kinds of things you can help your neighbor with. Let's see who can do it. Let's see who can help them the most. We have in the past donated the money collected, would be off the ticket sales this year, to the Upper Des Moines. I'm assuming you would like to do that again this year. So that's a rundown of what we got planned. I'm all open for ideas if you have more ideas. Or if you want to volunteer, we could use some helping hands out at the recycling center.
Can I ask a question about,
Sure.
Did you say you're only doing the junk days Monday through Friday and not on a weekend?
Yes, that's correct.
There's no way we can do a Saturday.
If we do it on a Saturday, then the BB Recycling Center has to pay their employees overtime.
And what are the hours on Monday?
8 to 4.
Unfortunate. I understand,
yeah.
it's just very unfortunate because
Yeah.
most of our community works. The
Yeah.
people that are gonna be able to lift, do the heavy lifting are gonna be at work
You know,
Monday through Friday.
if it turns out to be a great thing, you know, it's something that Carrie and Dave and I have talked about maybe opening it up again in the fall, see how it goes. It's unfortunate that we can't really help them a lot with unloading their vehicles.
Could we use the $15 to pay them to stay open on Saturday?
I don't know. Carrie?
Honorable Mayor and Council, that would be a question I would have to ask the commission. Overtime is typically time and a half.
You're selling, how many tickets are you gonna sell? I'm not.
50
I'm
a
at-
day.
Okay, Tyler.
So like 250.
250.
250 times 15. I don't know if that's gonna be enough. It just, Saturdays are,
Even if we have, there would be such a thing possibly on Saturday, you wouldn't maybe have to have a full day.
Right.
Since you got all week
Yeah.
to do
Right.
it, you maybe
Right.
could just do it for 3 or 4 hours or
Eight-
something. on-
8 to noon.
8 to noon or something.
on
Yeah.
That maybe. It just, I'd certainly not want to be open all, and if we're gonna pay overtime for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that concerns me too, is we're only daytime during the week. Most people are working during that time. It's gonna be tough for, if we're wanting everything to get cleaned up and done the way we have in the past, I think we're kind of limiting ourselves.
Do they need to have their employees there?
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't know if we had volunteers on Saturday or something like that.
no, they would need to have
Okay.
their employees there.
I understand that. I just was wondering.
Honorable Mayor and Council, if we could not get the 8 to noon weekend, do we still want to consider doing it this spring, Monday through Friday?
I think we want to do Monday through Friday for sure.
And then
Yeah.
we discussed earlier, looking at a fall option as well. And that would give opportunity for Ms. Waltman to go back to the commission and check their appetite on the overtime.
Yeah. We have a commission meeting coming up Thursday.
Well, I would
think it was coming
hope that some of the commission members are also Storm Lake citizens and like to see the city cleaned up as well, so I would hope that we could get a little bit of concessions there to help out, so. I don't know if it's, are we gonna get anything by doing it again in the fall if we're still in the limited at the same time of Monday through Friday, 8 to 4? So, I mean, a lot of it then, I think in the fall time, it's gonna be more yard waste and that type of stuff is gonna need to be done, so. Will, do you know, will the yard waste be open during this time?
I think she just posted something about they are gonna start opening on, how many days is that? One Saturday a month or something? I think so. I can ask her about that.
So yard waste would only be available on Saturday? It wouldn't be open during these 8 to 4 times that we would be?
Yeah, it would.
Okay, so it'd be open that time, okay.
It'd be open at regular hours.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to, I talked to Lori Dix, who's the manager out there, and we are going to rope off an area so the garbage trucks, we're not in there. We don't want to
Yeah.
be in their way.
No, yeah.
But this is just easier. In the past, when they brought it down to the street shop, we would always, after it was over, took us a day or probably a couple hours, we'd have to go out there and we would have to count the appliances that were in the dumpster and unload them for them. And it took city staff, got them on the weekends and then they're back out there. So this is just, should be easier. And we're not allowed to handle it anymore.
And I
It's just
think
tough.
we need to make sure in the publicity that goes out that people realize they need tickets beforehand.
Yeah.
So they don't just load up their car and head out there and try to unload.
Right.
And that they do need to get them for specific days. So-
Right.
Because we obviously can't have cars lined up out onto the blacktop and stuff like
Yeah.
like would have happened this last fall.
Right.
If it would have been out there. Might have been lined up all the way in the
That was a
lakeside.
very unique situation. That was interesting.
But, well, I mean, we need to make
Yeah.
a good point that we get that word.
Yeah, Dana Larson's working with me on all that.
And if you know groups that want to, like I'm part of the Hometown Pride and Dana's part of the Hometown Pride Committee, we are looking at possibly doing neighborhood challenges where a neighborhood, get your neighbors together, contact Kim, get a project, and go do the project, and we'll throw your name in and have a drawing for a pizza party for that group, whoever might win that drawing. We're still working out details on that, but that's been a thought that's been going around and a way to maybe hopefully activate neighborhoods. And also, I would challenge council if they're available. If we get a lot of volunteers, Kim can't be at every place all the time to help get groups, if you got groups in different parks that are cleaning or whatever, or painting, we may need people not just in one spot, but in more than one spot at a time.
These elementary kids, there's 200 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh boy, that'll be fun, but
So we're trying to get that organized, and we have.
That's my alarm going off telling me.
No, it's
let's- Sorry.
Your time's up, right?
Yeah, I've had my 10 minutes.
If you know groups of people, kids,
And what is,
Or-
you're gonna advertise the easiest way to reach you?
Yes.
I guess I have one more question, because I'm just thinking ahead. They buy a ticket for Tuesday. Tuesday, it's storming and raining and everything else. Is there going to be an option for them to bring it in another day? If they paid, $15 for their ticket, and now it's Tuesday and it's pouring
We'll have
down
to-
rain?
Right, I've thought of that too. We'll have to make accommodations for that. So it's raining on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So if they can bring it out the following Tuesday, I mean, I could be out there to help them direct them to where
maybe
to go.
expand the week or something, so
Yeah,
that.
I just, because, yeah.
Not that it's ever rained during.
No.
And
Especially not in May.
tornadoes.
Especially not in May,
No, never.
We've had a tornado.
Yeah, tornado.
But yeah, spread the word. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can get groups, businesses in particular,
And if anybody'd like to volunteer, anybody up there, to staff at the recycling center, that'd be great. We have some city staff.
I too have a job Monday through Friday, so I will not be able to do that, so. That's the
Okay.
hard part. Yep.
I'll be helping someplace.
I know. I think it's great that we have the
Look
kids
at me.
I
involved.
think we're just,
Sure,
it's an opportunity, it's an opportunity to
Simply
get,
up here doesn't work.
Everybody keeps looking
it's an opportunity not only get the community cleaned up, but just get camaraderie within the community, talk to you,
Absolutely.
chance to work with your neighbors and,
Get to know your neighbor.
get some
And I
stuff.
like the creativity that you're trying something, we can't do it on Saturday with the street crew, so I think this is a great alternative. It would just be nice if they would bend the rules a little bit and have us on Saturday.
Talk about that on Thursday meeting. We have a good solid waste commission meeting on Thursday. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, if there's any way that we could possibly get open for 4 hours on that Saturday or whatever would be great.
See what we can do.
Thank you.
Even if it, have to take away Monday or something like that.
Yeah.
And have it Tuesday through Saturday or something like that. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for putting this together. I know from the number of emails I've sent you with groups already, she's a busy lady on this project right now,
Yeah.
so.
Is there a list published someplace of those different things that you want to have done?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying so that if an organization sees that, oh, hey, we could all get together and
Where
paint
are
this
they
or
posted
paint
at,
that.
Dana? Is it on the website?
Website, Facebook, and sent out to media.
Is that all?
Yep. And I've got a copy if you want me to send you some. so. Anything, council? Any future workshops? I'm getting excited about, sure Mike thought I've had a lot of visiting with different
Yeah.
people and just individuals in the community stepping up to, I know we have somebody already, just from the conversation we had the other night at the property tax thing, they're working when he does a walk through Frank Star Park, he's got a stack, there's already a stack of twigs and stuff that they picked up. So,
That's great.
doesn't always have to happen that week if we can just get things done whenever, so.
Yeah, if everybody would just take a little bit of pride in the community year round, it doesn't have to all happen on that one week.
Right.
Just the little things here and there makes a big difference, Even when you're using the park, make sure you use the trash, or take your trash with you. Don't. Anyway, thank you.
Anything else? Not then, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. It's gonna be tough because Councilperson Ramos is not here.
Yeah, who else gonna start it? I always second it, so.
moved.
Second by Councilman Ritzler, second by
You don't have to
Councilperson
justify
Kennedy.
too hard.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.